Greetings and welcome once again. My name is John Gabriel and this is a new calculus channel. Now remember, in the previous three lessons we covered measure, arithmetic, and counting in units. In this lesson we will cover equivalent fractions using numbers because in lesson 3 we saw how we can arrive at those special fractions called integers, right? Okay, so now let's go through this lesson. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at multiplication of these two fractional parts. So if we have, let's say, a ratio of 2/3 and we want to convert it, how are we going to do that? So to multiply both parts of the fraction, the red and the blue, by the same number. And this is done by making the green section equal to each line segment and adding it the same number of times as in repeated addition. So let's do this one first here. Let's say we want to multiply these by, let's say, 3. Okay? So that means we need to go 1, 2, 3, right? Meaning this guy here is to go there, right? And then we want to do the same thing with the other line segment. So we make that 3, okay? And we go, whoop, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that means that that would be the fraction after we multiplied both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Now remember, this was pretty much the same thing you encountered in the first lesson. Let me just pull it up here very quickly, but you may not have realized it. The first lesson was this one here. And remember what we did when we found proportional ratios? That's similarly, if we have that and we increase it by itself once like that, we doubled it, right? And essentially, that's what we're doing here too, right? Except we're doing it 3 times here. If we had to do it twice, it would be there and there, okay? So that's how we would find two fractions with different denominators, and we can find equivalent fractions for both with the same denominator. Okay, and that's what we're going to do now in the next exercise. So let's get this out of the way. So now the instruction is to convert the fractions 2/3 and 3/4 so that they have the same denominator. Well, now we know how to do it. Okay, so what we really need to do here is find another fraction that is the same as 3/4 and another fraction that is the same as 4/6, right? Now if we increase that by 1 like that, we'd also have to increase this by 1. Okay, they're still not the same, are they? What if we increase this by 1 and this by 1? They're still not the same. Now remember, this was 4, so we could increase that by 4 like that, and we could increase this by 3, right? So now we have the original two fractions, 9/12 and 8/12. Now 9/12 is the same as what? Let's check that. 9/12, is that 2/3? Well, if we divide the top and the bottom by 3, so somewhere must have made a mistake, right? So let's do this again. Let's just reload this. Let's reload this. It's easier just to do this. Equivalent fractions using numbers, discard. Okay, and we'll go to, so we need to do 2/3 and 3/4. So this is 2/3 and 3/4. I might have done it the correct way, but I'm a little tired now. But I'm going to try and get through this one. Right. So let's make that, let's increase this by 2, which means it's going to be 12 long, right? And if we increase this by 2, it's going to be 9. That's how it was before. Okay. And this has to increase by that much, which means that has to be 8, right? That's what I had before, so it was correct. So 9/12 is 3/4, I'm sorry, and 8/12 is 2/3. So yes, like I thought it was correct, but I'm being a little bit of a knucklehead. So anyway, now we found these two fractions. We found equivalent fractions for these that have the same denominator. In other words, 12. The fact that I made this mistake helps you understand. It reinforces your understanding. So the next thing we do, next thing we learn is that we can find the lowest common multiple. And I showed you how to do that in the previous video. And if you have A12s, it's easy to do that, isn't it? And that means you can actually find equivalent fractions and give them names which are numbers. In the next lesson, we will learn how to divide fractions with numbers now, no longer line segments, just numbers. Okay? If you're not already a subscriber, become a subscriber, click like, and follow me on Academia.edu. This is a new calculus channel. I'm John Gabriel. Till next time, goodbye.